Booker, are you afraid of God?
No. But I'm afraid of you.
So BioShock as a whole is one of the most recognizable names, I think, in the gaming industry. And by no means am I pretending to be a guy who is very informed in all of the dealings of the world, very informed in all the politics, very informed in what's going on. I'm just not. I'm not going to pretend to be. I'm just a guy who plays games, and either I like a game, I don't like a game, or I talk about something that was really cool regarding said game. BioShock Infinite is a game that I remember very well. The things that they would say about the game were best game, best FPS, game of the year. It was praise upon praise upon praise of this game called BioShock Infinite, and I wanted it. I got to the point where I was like, yo, this game looks really cool. I bet I could play it. I bet it could be fun. It doesn't look scary. It looks interesting. I never got to play it. My dad never bought it for me, and I never saved up enough money to get it, and the thought came and it went. But I remember specifically how beloved it was and how hyped it was and how much praise it got. So it's a little bit crazy. 10 years later, a couple weeks back, you reached the anniversary of its release, and everything that I saw on the internet surrounding BioShock Infinite was negative. So what happened in those 10 years since the release of BioShock Infinite that it went from one of the best games, and especially one of the best rated games with a lot of awards, to now one of the most hated, I would say, or negative types of games? I mean, in one decade, there's a big shift. There has to be something that had happened to cause the downfall, I would say, of a game that was appreciated back in 2013. Now, the reason that I find it shocking is because I played BioShock 1 finally as an adult here on the channel, and I have the gameplay for it, and I was mind blown. I played BioShock 1 a couple years ago now, maybe 2 years ago, and it was scary to me, but it was also one of the most unique stories, and it was set in a beautiful underwater world that I truly loved. I fell in love with the game, and it was a wonderful, scary, weird ride, but it really made me fall in love with the series. For some reason, I didn't play 2, but I did jump into BioShock Infinite. So I completed BioShock 1, then I went into Infinite, and as soon as I started it up, I mean, the bright colors, the city in the heavens, in the sky, it was just different. Like, one of the games took place all the way underwater, the other one took place all the way up in the sky. It was cool, it was unique. Both of the games are amazing, and to me, playing BioShock Infinite, it was so good. It was so good from the moment that I started playing, and I was like, oh, it's pushing some stuff here, in the sense that it was a brutal game and it made you make decisions. And I don't look too deeply into video games or things like that. I just kind of, am I having fun with it? Is it enjoyable? Am I enjoying the characters that are in the game? And I was. Meeting Elizabeth was awesome. She was a great character. My character, Booker DeWitt, was a character that was broken and going through some stuff as well. Troy Baker did an excellent job with the voice work, and just the world, again, was very, very intriguing. Guns felt smooth. Everything of the gameplay just felt good. It felt smooth. It was BioShock, just a little bit better. It was a good experience. It was a fun ride. The twist and the turns of the game, maybe because it's so recent, and then the ending, it just blew my mind. Like, the ending for BioShock Infinite blew my mind. I avoided spoilers for the game for 10 years because I never put any interest in the game until I started playing it, or 9 years, whatever. So yeah, everything was new to me, and it was just a great ride. I played the DLC, and it was amazing as well. So once again, let me get back to my earlier point. I mentioned that 10 years later, there's hate for the game, and I have some screenshots here that you're gonna see. So IGN comes out with a post, and it says, on its 10th anniversary, BioShock Infinite remains one of the boldest shooters of all time, despite its self-destructive mistakes. So I'm like, okay, I get in there, I read it. You guys can read that as well if you want, and get a big, clear picture of what they're talking about. Here's a small snippet of the article. It says, when played today, more than anything, BioShock Infinite feels like the product of its era. A well-made but ultimately compromised AAA series entry that tried to appeal to everyone. It could be convincingly argued that Infinite succeeded in its aims. It sold millions of copies, garnered awesome reviews. That said, the passing of a decade has not been kind to Infinite, and I doubt the next will be any nicer. It says the industry has changed a lot since 2013, and I suspect that a BioShock 4 that leans more into the series' core identity would do better today than revisiting the half-hearted Infinite approach. I don't get it necessarily. I think it's pushing like political things. I think that's kind of what it's pushing towards. I don't know. So that's kind of the perspective or how the game is perceived today, 10 years later. Article actually by Justin Clark from GameSpot says the assassination of Daisy Fitzroy, one of the characters, by the coward BioShock Infinite. So it says 10 years later, BioShock Infinite failing its best black character is an even worse look than ever. BioShock is celebrating its 10-year anniversary today, which was back in March 26, 2023. Below, we take a critical eye to how it ultimately mishandles his prominent black revolutionary character, Daisy Fitzroy. Let me tell you a story about a slave. You can also read that article down in the comments because I'm gonna link this. I'm gonna link his article as well. I'm not gonna say that the whatever he's saying in the article is wrong, but again, this is the perception that the game has. This is the legacy that the game is carrying. So it seems 10 years later. Look, I haven't played the game again, maybe a year and a half. There were a lot of crazy ass people in Infinite, crazy ass people that I wanted to kill, people that I didn't like, people that I didn't understand. You know, I don't know. What do you guys think about how the game is being perceived now? Because I didn't take it this serious. I don't think I looked this deep into the game. And maybe I need another replay. I need a replay and I need to really concentrate and really take notes. And maybe I find some of these issues that other people are having, or maybe, just maybe, I don't. I don't know. But that's kind of what this is. This video is up for interpretation and just talking about a broader picture for BioShock Infinite. Now, those are critics. Those are people that write articles. What do some of you guys think? What do some of the public think 10 years later about BioShock Infinite? So here you are seeing a common thread that I pulled from the IGN post. And as you can see here, it says, I prefer the first two, didn't care that much about Infinite. Okay, that's valid. Someone else says, I'm kind of confused. I remember when this was released, it seemed like a lot of people loved it, me included. But today this game is hated. Why? And that's the question for today's video. Somebody replies to that comment and says, because it was overhyped at release, leading to way more people being disappointed by it. So instead of being an all-time classic, it's just considered a good game. That is also valid. And then the last comment that I have for you, because that's the popular thing to do now. Fragile people got upset at the notion of racism working both ways. So they've decided everything about the game is terrible, and lots of others jumped on the hate bandwagon because gamers love hating a game more than enjoying one. This is just a little taste of where the game sits and where the game stands 10 years later. So there is so many different opinions regarding the game, and the opinion and the perception of BioShock Infinite has changed drastically in 10 years. Do you think it's warranted, or do you think it's unfair? I have a quick little comment here as well. The game was nominated for 28 awards and it won 23 of them. Now, awards and things like that sometimes don't necessarily mean if a game is good or if a game is bad. This is just so you guys can kind of get an idea to how highly rated the game was when it first released back in 2013. And for a quick comment, I know that the game promised a lot from the research that I did, and a lot of the stuff that were supposed to be for the game at release was not, and a lot of things were removed. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video was just to talk about its state 10 years later and how the game's perception has changed. BioShock is a wonderful series, I believe, and a series that has gone through some trouble, but ultimately, in my opinion, it is a wonderful series that I enjoyed playing from beginning to end. And clearly, this past decade has not been good to BioShock Infinite, and it seems like the next decade will be even worse for it. I truly believe and I truly hope that a BioShock 4 comes out very, very soon, and maybe it tackles the issues that face BioShock Infinite and improves upon them. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.